Is this only bad if they have high alert? Do I just snap to just try to eat that? Are they conceded the corrupted behemoth? What? Wow. Damn. Yeah, Dynamic Terriax. Ooh, tower. Ooh. The dinosaur. Got. Yeah, it dies a fall.
Is it gonna smoosh?
Oh, it definitely smooshes.
You had like blood like splatter around
I'm
you.
just like the floor right now. Look at this. That's me.
What is this? Oh my god! Ah!
Why, hello there.
Hi.
All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the OPSEAT video podcast. I'm your host, Droopy Jors, the social media director for OPSEAT.
And I'm Glitch Streams, aka Noah, lead editor of OPSEAT.
And we have an amazing guest today. This is HeyLochNess. This is a Mixer partner. How are you doing today?
I'm awesome. It's awesome to be here.
That is absolutely incredible. And just giving everybody a little bit of a background. So we created this podcast to introduce you to successful gamers who have used various strategies to build personal brands and make a profit with them. Now please make sure to like and subscribe wherever you enjoy your live streams or your podcast. Also going throughout everything, this is a live stream and we're always excited to do this. If anybody ever has any questions or anything like that, please feel free to ask any questions that we might come across, and we'll try our best to answer them as we go through. And also today, really excited. We don't typically have a lot of partners outside of Twitch to join us, and we're really excited to kind of discuss a really popular topic among streamers. Really trying to narrow in on how to, find and establish the platform that you want to grow on and build a community within. Now, kind of going back to, HeyLochNess, what might people know you best for?
Probably streaming WoW on Mixer. Maybe some Sea of Thieves too.
A little bit of Sea of Thieves. That was a fun one for a really long time. And WoW has so much content. And it was really enlightening to see that when we were looking for partners for OPC and also people to be able to invite on the OPC podcast, you're one of the very few people that stream WoW on Mixer. When and how did you start streaming either on Mixer or even WoW in general?
Well, I've been streaming for like almost 2.5 years, and I was on Twitch before for like a year and a half, and I streamed mostly shooters. And I had a friend that was like, "Hey, you're really nerdy. you should check out World of Warcraft." And I played it twice and did not like it. And
Really?
then I tried it. Yeah, and then I tried it a third time, and it stuck. It stuck the third time. But as far as on Mixer, I just saw that it was not there and decided to jump in over there and just start streaming it. So
That's actually amazing. And you're kind of like cultivating your own directory, basically, if there weren't a lot of people streaming. We came across a video that you put on YouTube about maybe having a fear of switching platforms, especially when, you came from shooters and, even switching platforms entirely. So you changed game types and you changed platforms. And there were 4 people streaming in the WoW directory on Mixer, I believe.
yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit more about that leap and why you decided to take that?
Oh, well, after streaming on Twitch for like a year and a half, I would say about 6 months of that was shooters, and then the rest was WoW because I just started really falling in love with the game. But I always just felt like my content was what we all feel like that. We feel like our content is better than, and we want people to see it. And I looked at Mixer and I was like, okay, no one's doing this. I can either, leave Twitch behind, and I did not have, I didn't have an audience there. I could leave that, which was not really a risk at all, and then take like time and try to grow with a platform that's growing. And that was kind of the thing that was just like, since there was only 4 people streaming it, I was not going to be at the bottom of the list. And even if I was, it was only like the second row. So it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
But, you know, people would not have to scroll so much to find my content. So
Definitely.
Yeah.
And that tackles a huge, especially, you know, coming from Twitch, you saw that some platforms have a huge discoverability. You know, some call it an issue, some call it a flaw, and some, you know, really enjoy the different ways the different platforms tackle it. And, you know, being able to be on the, you know, top 5 streamers for it is, you know, one way to tackle discoverability. And out of curiosity, when and how did you first start playing video games in general?
My brother is 7 years older than me, and so he had a Sega. And I would, whenever he was like at football practice and stuff, I would sneak in his room and play his games. And then I would run out before he got home, so he didn't catch me.
There you go. Were there any of the Sega games that like really stuck out to you when you were playing them?
Yeah, like Lost Vikings, which is funny because it's actually Blizzard.
Really?
Yeah. And I don't think that they were called they turned into Blizzard, but so Lost Vikings, and then of course Sonic. I would play Sonic with my sister, and we had Monopoly, like the old school Monopoly, and my mom loved that, so we would play that with her.
Never cause any family fights.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But it was great because nobody could really be the banker. And you know how you always need to watch the person that wants to be the banker in Monopoly because they're probably cheating. Well, you
Not
know,
probably. They are cheating.
Yeah,
And you have to catch them.
guaranteed.
Yeah.
we've all done it.
Even if we're not, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Of course. So, and then, I don't even know how. I think my cousin had The Sims for PC, and that, like, I think I played The Sims from the time I was like 9 years old to like now.
Yeah.
Yeah, The Sims was another one.
I still remember some of the old cheat codes like Rosebud,
Yes,
and then you just take the
Rosebud.
semicolons and yeah, you just copy pasta that so you have all the money in the world, you know. Sims Deluxe Edition, like, oh, thank you for everything you have.
So, obviously, we know your start of video games, and but how did you really get started with online content creation? You said you started on Twitch. What inspired you to get there in the first place?
I think it's kind of like everybody else. You're like, well, I'm playing video games.
Yeah.
I might as well stream it. Like, you know, like everybody says that. But I have been in like theater and just, can you guys hear that lawnmower?
I cannot hear a lawnmower.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
I can hear your voice. I can hear you asking if there's a lawnmower, but I don't hear the
Good.
lawnmower. So we're
There, I
Ghost
promise.
lawnmower, man.
Oh gosh. Anyways, I've always been in like theater and stuff too. So I was like, oh, it's kind of like a production.
Yeah.
So I liked that. I got really excited about that. And yeah, that's basically, I don't know. I just kind of dove in headfirst. So.
Absolutely. And so now that you're, you know, in the thick of it with in terms of streaming, I think one of the biggest questions that a lot of people ask when they're trying to build their platform, and maybe that you faced a little bit too when you were on your platform, and probably why you switched to Mixer, was, do you believe it's better to build up with a small directory, such as like the kind of unpopular game, or to go where just not a lot of people are to catch momentum with it? Or do you believe it's better to try and abuse the momentum like that's already there, like when Fortnite blew up and so many streamers blew up with it?
Yeah.
What do you think is kind of the better path?
I think that in order to blow up with a game, you kind of have to be the chosen one. And we're not all the chosen one, even though we like to think that we are. So I think that no matter what, you're going to have to grow at some point. And so I think that growing where you see that option for growth more is the best option by far. If that answered that question.
Yeah, it kind of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really does.
I think that not that many people have that chance to explode with a game overnight.
Mhm.
And if you're already gaming and you're already playing the games that you love, but you're wanting to grow, then I think that growing with a platform is the best option.
Gotcha.
So
all right.
And so, go ahead, Drew.
No,
Definitely. I mean, I'm going to take this moment, and now that we're doing a live podcast, and we see something come up in chat to ask her about Seagulls, and I'm kind of curious about the Seagulls.
Hold on, can we just talk about the reaction she had? She spiked the camera so hard, like that was trauma 1,000-yard stare.
So no, like I love Star Wars. I mean, it's like I had a Star Wars podcast. Like it's just a big deal to me, and it means a lot to me. And have you guys ever watched Seagulls Stop It Now by Bad Lip Reading? It's
I believe I have, but I think I've seen so many of those, I just can't. Is it the one? Oh, I think I know
my
exactly what
favorite.
you're talking
Walking
about.
Dead ones.
I loved the Walking Dead ones too, but this one is like it's on another level.
God.
It's a song. It's beautiful. It's not beautiful. It's just hilarious. And
Is it the one that goes? Bop, 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 bop? Is it that one? Because I think I know what you're talking about. There's bad lip reading and there's bad singing, and I did the bad singing. So okay. Well, we can move on now. Okay. So
it's just something that my community loves. Like we have Seagull emotes, Seagull merch. Like it's just a thing. So
that is absolutely wonderful. And thanks for telling us about that. I mean, I love that this is live so that we can grab interactions like that. And honestly, I'm curious. So you've been streaming for a while. It's not like you've just been doing this for a couple months. You've spent a lot of time, just building up the community, building up inside jokes with the community, and then also being able to, I mean, you've been partnered with Mixer. You've seen success on the platform. What was kind of like your aha moment, knowing that you could keep playing games and continue to do what you do and make this production?
So as far as for, because I am full-time.
Mm-hmm.
I quit my job. I've been a graphic designer for like 7 years, and I quit my job in August. And
Congratulations.
for that, thank you. For that, there was no aha moment. It was just one of those things where it was like, I either do this now or will I regret it later? And also, like, it was a rough situation with the job, so it was for my happiness. But as far as like the aha moment for content creation was honestly like when I started streaming on Mixer. I didn't have that. My outlook on everything changed like my first week streaming on Mixer. And I didn't realize it was going to have that big of an impact on me and change even just even my mindset about the whole thing. So
that's actually really cool. And I feel like I'm curious about a lot of things, and I tell you that I'm curious. Like at this point, I'm just going to start asking questions and stop letting you know I'm curious about them. Because I mean, when you switched to Mixer, you went from the WoW directory to the WoW directory.
Yes.
Now you switched the platform, and you feel like you had like a different insight and a different overall view of streaming and creating this content in general. Do you feel like it was because of the directory that you found yourself in Mixer that was different? Or I mean, like, let's say you never played WoW and you kept playing shooting games. Do you think you would have found a similar effect on Mixer, even with the games that you first started streaming with?
Probably, yeah, because it was just such a drastic difference. And like sometimes we'll play like community Fortnite and just like that kind of like Overwatch and things like that. And it's still so different than whenever I was playing shooters, even on Twitch. It's just, I don't, I think that seeing WoW as like a blank slate or like a blank canvas kind of thing really helped push me. But I think that I would have had the same feeling because even my outlook on things like my moderators and like that kind of stuff changed. So I think so. I think it would have just changed anyways.
Yeah. So in that vein of seeing Mixer as kind of a blank slate and something that you could kind of make your own, now that you've kind of established yourself on it and like really you know the inner workings, what would you say is the number one benefit of being a Mixer streamer?
Everybody says it's the community, and it is. The I don't know, everybody that just streams there, or not everybody, but most everybody, at least people that I've connected with and that I feel like a connection with, they care about your content just like they care about theirs, and they want to share their community with yours, and it's so different. I feel like with Twitch, it's like you're just a bunch of, fish in the ocean kind of thing. But I don't know, with Mixer, I feel like everybody works together. Oh, they're doing hearts.
Yeah, the chat is lighting up with some love right now. And I can definitely see where you're coming from in terms of, because of the raw size of Twitch, even when you find your community, it's like in terms of the scale of the entire platform, even that community, you could have 100 concurrent. That's still just a fraction of the people that are in there.
Exactly.
And so to have a more intimate type of stream experience, I could see where that would be a little bit more of like that spark, that aha moment right off the bat. You immediately felt that intimacy that on Twitch you definitely have to grow into.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think that I ever really connected with my audience. And it's probably also that mindset change that happened. But it did not happen for me on Twitch. And then when I got on Mixer, it was like a breath of fresh air kind of thing. And I was able to kind of clear my head and focus on what I wanted to accomplish versus comparing myself and all that fun thing, fun stuff that happens. So.
Yeah. We all know the streamer imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Now, out of curiosity, just I say that a lot, and I need to stop. So, all right. Now, going between the platforms, you talk about this this kind of like the mindset change, the rift in your mindset. Like, how would you try to, if somebody was trying to do what you do, how would you kind of explain your mindset that would be beneficial to them? Something if they were trying to do what you do. Delay. Everybody, welcome back. We're doing the OPC Video Podcast again. It's fantastic. Hey. We didn't go offline in any way, shape, or form. But what we were doing is we were kind of asking the question, what might be some ways to like kind of explain the mindset to people who might want to do, what you do on Mixer.
So I kind of stopped looking at it like me, like focusing on me. I started looking at it more for my community. And I also just kind of asked myself more like, what can I do for Mixer, not what can Mixer do for me? Because with Twitch, it was like, oh, I'm gonna drown in a group of people, and I I need to network, or I need to meet more people so I can grow. And with Mixer, I was like, well, the platform's growing. Growth is, if I do this right, growth is going to happen. But, what is missing on the platform that I can offer that's different? So
in terms of what can I offer that's different, if you had to name something, what would you say is your golden your golden trait? What makes you different from everybody else that you would say?
Well, I mean, the fact that I play well. Like I had people come in my stream and say, "Oh, I've been looking for a WoW streamer for 6 months," and I was like,
Oh
"Oh,
wow.
wow,
6
okay."
months.
No pun
Yeah.
intended.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Sorry.
So that was kind of one of those moments where I was like, I think I'm in the right place.
There you go. Now I know that Mixer has like a lot of tools for, you know, when people finally, you know, they found their WoW streamer. They found tool like the streamers that they want, the communities that have been built. What are some of the like most prominent sources of income for streaming on Mixer for those that might be curious? People that might have been doing it for a while might be wary of switching platforms based off already having like an established audience.
Right. It's basically the same. For partners get subs. I think that they're making subs available to open monetization. But I don't think there's a time frame on that yet.
Mhm.
But there's also a thing called embers. Embers are kind of like bits. And I know that people who are not partnered yet and they're in the monetization program can get bits now. So they're working on all of that. And then there are a lot of outside sources. So sponsors, there's Patreon and also Streamloots. Have you guys heard of Streamloots?
Streamloots, yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, it's just a fun little thing for your community to interact with the stream. And they like buy cards and they can like use those cards on your stream to do things like, oh, they replaced me with like this Murloc a lot.
Oh,
So I'll just have to completely get up and this has to sit in my chair. And they love it. I don't know why, but they do.
that's awesome.
There's scare cards. Yeah.
I definitely think that adding any elements like that, I feel like overall streamers just benefit so much from being like, here's this thing that makes absolutely no sense, but if you just hang around long enough, you can make me do it.
Yeah.
And the community just blows up at that.
Yeah. It's so funny.
Now, with WoW, you have the Alliance and the Horde, for those who don't know. I know we saw a couple of comments in the chat, but which side do you reside on mostly?
I know my background right now is red, but I am Alliance. So, yeah, for the Alliance.
There you go.
So we actually did get a really interesting question from Guillotine 987 right now. Was there ever a moment in your streaming journey that you kind of felt lost or like troubled with where to go next? Like, was there ever just this moment of, I'm at the moment I'm at, it's kind of starting to plateau. Where do I go from here?
Oh yeah. I feel like everybody deals with that at some point. I think that's whenever you just need to take a breather. And I don't mean like a break. I just mean like normally when that happens, you get really stressed and you're wondering like, why is this happening to me? What am I doing wrong? And I think it's good to just take a minute and just kind of reflect on what have you changed? What, like, if there is something you've changed, are you happy or that you've changed it, or or do you wish you could go back to the way it was? And I just, that's really difficult to deal with, but I just feel like if you just keep pushing, in a healthy way, don't like go crazy and start streaming 12 hours a day 7 days a week or anything, but like just take a moment and reflect on your own content and what you want it to be, and ask yourself if it's going in the right direction, and if it's not, then maybe take a step back and figure out what you've changed or what's happening.
Absolutely.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Really?
Now, one thing that we noticed is you've basically been building this directory on Mixer with WoW. do you feel like others might be a little bit more comfortable switching from other platforms to the directory that you've been building because of the efforts you've made?
I think so. I've talked to a couple of people recently, actually, that are wanting to kind of do the same thing, and like a lot of the people in chat right now, like they stream WoW too, and we've kind of created like just a really big, well, it's small because Mixer's, not huge or anything, but we've created a really, I guess, intimate community where we all support each other and we all just try to keep pushing each other to keep growing and everything. And I think that a lot of people are seeing that, and they're really, connecting with it and wanting to join us. So yeah, I've actually talked to somebody like last week that is probably moving. So
Yeah.
And that's awesome. I mean, there's a lot more eyes on the platform, and I'm sure
100%.
Does it come up a lot when people are asking, oh, so you stream on Mixer? Do people typically ask you a lot whether it's been beneficial that some of the bigger names have been bought out from other platforms and moved to Mixer, such as Ninja and Shroud? Did that play any positive, like did it have a positive impact on maybe your own analytics or your own numbers, or not really?
Yeah. It's been like of course, like the WoW directory isn't going to see as big of a jump as other shooter games or other really popular games. But there definitely has been like a ripple effect, sort of like a just kind of people trickling in. The day that Ninja moved was one of my best streams, and it was because they weren't people that watched him. They were just people who wanted to check Mixer out.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see the WoW directory. And so, yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And so overall, as even your chat has acknowledged, it's like you managed to build WoW from like almost no community to something that people on Mixer in general will watch now. And so what would you suggest for streamers that are just now starting or want to switch over and they see that their game isn't there? What would you suggest to do? Like, what is the best step possible to make a game that isn't really prominent on Mixer a little bit more discoverable?
I think that there's definitely a if you build it, they will come kind of thing with Mixer.
Field of dreams, right?
Yeah. Especially right now with it like kind of blowing up like it is. So I say stream what you love, and just make sure your content is what you want your content to be, and search for that community, and people will see your content, and they want that unique different content on the platform. A lot of my friends that are even partners are variety streamers. So there's a lot of different communities on Mixer for a lot of different games, especially if it's not the popular ones.
So would you say that like in Mixer it's kind of like a free real estate situation, like a free agent type thing, to where it's like you can create it because there's probably somebody looking for it. It's that sort of, there's a demand, but nobody's going for the supply because they can't see the demand.
Exactly. Yeah. That goes back to the YouTube video. Like they people are scared that there's not a community there, but there actually probably is. And you just kind of have to build your own space and create what you want. And I know so many creators on the platform that have been doing that, and it's been going so well. So,
and it makes sense. Going back to somebody who came into your chat was like, I've been looking for a WoW streamer for 6 months. So just create your own spaces and everything. And one of the things that really we try to make available to everybody is kind of like some tips from our creators that we have on the show. If somebody was wanting to become a Mixer streamer and just really put all their eggs in one basket, and Mixer seems to be that, what advice can you give to somebody trying to become, a Mixer streamer?
Okay, well, definitely don't just go for the top games because they're the top games. You know, make sure you're streaming what you like, because people will see that you're not having fun playing those games and they'll just leave. But also, I think that networking, and I don't like the term networking, but like talking with other streamers or partners or just whoever that don't even necessarily like play the games that you play. I think that that's really important. I don't think that enough people do that, because I'll have friends that they'll like host me, or they'll like send their people to me, and they've never even played WoW. You know, they're like, oh, she's playing WoW. No one's doing that. Let's go over there because that's kind of cool. You know, I think that networking on Mixer is a really, really important thing for the platform right now, especially with how much it's growing.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, a lot of people actually, it kind of has a negative connotation to say the word networking, but
yeah,
I've seen some people, even myself, call it socializing now. Because good. Then, I mean, everything you can think of Mixer or Twitch and everything as like a social media platform, just like any other. Because you go on there, you meet your friends, you play games with your friends, and I mean, you could just have friends that, like you said, don't even play the games that you play, because at the end of the day, these could be just people that you hang out in a Discord call at the end of the night, you know.
Exactly.
So,
I like the term socializing.
Yeah.
I always just say make friends, but yeah, I like that.
That you just, it's just, yeah, you know, because sometimes you can socialize with people and then you find out you don't want to be friends with them, you know?
And cons, I just call it exploring. Yeah. Like, that's all I do is just like, I'm just walking in circles talking to people.
And through all of this, through the incredible amount of time that you've been creating content and building this WoW community, I mean, that in and of itself is very impressive. And I'm curious again, what is your favorite accomplishment doing what you do?
Guy.
I'm just a curious cat, you know?
Well, of course, like partnership was huge. That happened after being on the platform for 5 months, and I just I was shocked. But I think my favorite was that I got a BlizzCon media pass. And so I was kind of like, oh my gosh, Blizzard want Mixer people. Like they're actually looking at Mixer, and that just blew my mind. And I was
and then you could be like, they want me.
I was just like, what? There were a couple of us there, but like I just never, whenever I applied for it, I was like, there's no way. Like they're just gonna be like, this is some Mixer streamer. But I was like, I play WoW on Mixer. It's what I'm passionate about. And that's been my favorite thing so far. I kind of like did a bunch of happy dances that day.
Absolutely. So obviously you had like your biggest accomplishment, the validating moment, because that's when it's like the thing I play is looking at me. So that was just an absolute euphoric moment. But like as we've kind of established before, there are always like there are ups and there are huge downs in terms of streaming, because it's something we take very seriously, and sometimes our passion can be a little rough. So what would you say is one of your biggest hardships or challenges as a streamer?
Oh, I think that everybody deals with those days where maybe their brain just doesn't want to stream and just wants to lay on the couch and eat ice cream. And I think honestly, pushing through those days for your regulars and for your community, it's difficult, but it's super rewarding at the end. And you know, I don't know, like once a week, I'm like, man, I really just want to cancel stream tonight. And every time I push through, I'm just so happy that I did it for the community, you know?
Absolutely.
But I think that's just dealing with also that. And there's the whole imposter syndrome that we were talking about earlier. Like that's just that kind of plays into that.
Yeah.
You know? You're like, well, if I streamed, just, does it matter, or could I eat ice cream? But
Why not?
Who's to
Doesn't
say you
matter.
can't eat ice cream on stream?
Yeah.
well, right, yeah, no, I actually,
Porque
I don't
no
think
las
I've tried
dos. You
that.
can have an ice cream day.
Oh, man. Dude,
Call it
an
the ice cream
stream
social.
party.
yeah, we should do that. Yeah. Oh, they're saying blueberries, and like trolls.
hmm
Yeah, I mean everybody deals with trolls.
Oh, is blueberries a slang term?
Well, blueberries. Okay, so on Mixer, you can see profile photos in the chat,
Yeah.
and the default profile photo is like a blue, like a drawing of just like a blue
Oh, this
little like
makes sense.
figure.
Oh.
And so yeah, so they're called blueberries because a lot of times they will be trolls. They either, don't they haven't been on Mixer very long or something like that. And so that's what people they're talking
I
about.
thought you were
blueberries.
I thought they were just saying it's like, well, I don't eat ice cream when on the couch. I just like gorge myself on blueberries.
No, I don't want to eat the trolls.
Yeah. Actually, the implication is that I am currently a blueberry, which is fine.
Oh, I have mods that like they were blueberries, and then whenever I modded them, I was like, you have to change it. You can't be a blueberry anymore.
You need a face, damn it.
Yeah.
And
So,
so through all of this, we find that there are certain tools that streamers love using when they're, creating their content, whether it be their webcams or their keyboards, anything like that. But besides your OPSEAT, we love to figure out kind of what was your favorite peripheral that you've used to kind of get you to where you are now.
well, this is actually my second OPSEAT. My first one I bought whenever I was on Twitch. And it was like pink. It was so cute. I gave it to my husband.
There you go.
So he has a pink chair now.
Beautiful.
He
I
rocks it.
just upgraded to the Sony A5100 and I'm obsessed with it. And then I'm also obsessed with my Logitech, I think it's the G604. It's like their newest like MMO mouse. And I had off-brand mouses and stuff before, so this is my first like real like gaming
I'm
mouse.
a
And I
real
love it.
gamer now.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a cord, and it's awesome. So yeah.
That's absolutely wonderful. And, I mean, I've always loved my Logitech mice and things like that, but I had this, it was the Razer Naga Epic Chroma. It's a mouthful to say, but
That
when you
is-
do play the MMOs, just the ability to have 12 buttons, it's life-changing. Absolutely
Yeah.
life-changing. I'm trying to remember what I was playing. I think I was playing Final Fantasy 14. Or
Man, I got fat fingers.
WoW.
That wouldn't work for me.
Well, this one has 6 on the side, and
Mhm.
they're really big actually. And then there's like an additional like 6 just in other places, and then the 2 main ones. So
Wow.
it's really cool.
Awesome. And honestly, we've absolutely loved being, such a comfortable part of, what you do on Mixer, or even, supporting your husband's back now with the pink chair. It's been incredible having you on the podcast and learning a lot more about Mixer than I typically would have thought of just by watching it myself. But it has been an honor and a pleasure having you on the OPC podcast. Is there anything that you have going on in the near future that you wanted to let anybody know about, or maybe OPC?
Any cons or major events?
I'm gonna be at PAX South. I'll probably be at BlizzCon next year.
There you go. PAX South.
So yeah, they're saying PAX South. I've never been to a PAX. I went to BlizzCon, was my first con ever.
Yeah.
And it was very overwhelming and
Yeah.
really a really big con for it to be my first one.
Yeah.
And then we did DreamHack Atlanta a couple of weeks ago.
Oh,
But
I was
I'm
there.
excited about PAX South. Are you really?
I go to a lot
Yeah,
of
it was.
conventions. PAX South is actually one of my favorite events because, unlike BlizzCon, it's really one of my favorite PAXs because you have some time to unwind.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
like-
very intimate, like,
Right.
and small.
I'm excited because a lot more of my community is going to be there, and
Yeah.
a lot of them are also streamers, and so I'm really like they're they're like hyped in the chat for PAX South.
It's the best. It's the best PAX, easily.
For sure. East is just, oh god, so much goes on during East.
I wanted to do West also, but I think it's kind of in the fall, and I think we're kind of deciding between
It's close. Yeah.
like BlizzCon, or even we want to go to Disney World too. So
Make sure you catch popular streamer HeyLochNess at Disney World.
look, I'm a Disney pass holder. I have to go. Like, if I don't go, I will melt into the floor. So that's where my happiness comes from.
There you go. Well, honestly, it's been a pleasure, and I might come and say hello over at PAX South. Still trying to decide if I'm going to be going to PAX South. I've been there for the last 4 years, I believe, so I'll probably end up going. But yeah, definitely, it has been an absolute pleasure. Noah, thank you so much for joining us and helping us with the OPC podcast as always.
Oh.
And HeyLochNess, it has been wonderful. Thank you so
Thanks
very
for
much.
inviting me. This was fun. I was super nervous, but you guys are chill, so it was fun.
We try our best.
Thank you all for tuning in. Have an amazing day.
Absolutely. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.